All right, then, we are now going to start looking at flexibility. What you've done so far is you have worked with isometrics, which is holding. We then progressed on to PNF with contract release. And to be honest with you, I really like those two strategies even more than flexibility. But the reason I've included this class is there is no doubt going to be a day where you don't feel like practicing your splits. And the only way to get splits is through that consistent effort. So what we're going to do is, you've guessed it, we're going to have a day where we get to hold our stretches passively. Just bear in the back of your mind that you don't want to be doing this one aggressively every single day. You want to stay in that lovely gray zone of feeling comfortable, but slowly progressing as and when you feel ready. Now, we are going to do a couple of brain hacks in this class that are a little bit weird. Take them with you into the other practices, so don't just isolate them for here. One of them is actually using the tongue. The tongue is very powerful. It occupies so much space in your brain. So by moving the tongue around, we can actually help to light up specific parts of the brain that can deal with flexion. We can also move the jaw around, and we can also create a humming sound with the voice. So we're going to play around with some of these. Let's bring ourselves to the top of our yoga mat. Have a little shimmy and a little shake. Take a moment to close your eyes and visualize yourself in the splits, holding it comfortably. Maybe you're on a beach, smiling for a photograph. And there's a real sense of joy about being in the shape and a real sense of acceptance as well. Good. And we're going to take that positive energy with us as we inhale, reach up, and then exhale, start to forward fold all the way down to your legs. Placing your hands on each block, step your left leg all the way to the back of your yoga mat until you come into a low lunge. And what we're going to do is we're going to shift from forwards with your hip flexor taking the load to backwards into your front hamstring taking the stretch. And we're just going to shift forward and back between those two places. And we're actually going to start with our hum. So you're going to be like, all the way in until the end of your out breath. When the out breath finishes, you inhale. And you go again. For the yogis in the house, you'll know this is your Brahmari breathing. It also works on the brainstem with one of your cranial nerves and helps to facilitate your flexor tone. So that front leg coming up and giving you that extra range with the hamstring. Let's almost do one or two more with the final bit of our exhale coming out. And then we're going to finish coming forwards. Now here we're actually going to work with the jaw. So you're feeling the flexibility of the back hip and you're going to shift the jaw side to side. The jaw also helps facilitate extensor tone in the body. So you're wiggling your jaw side to side. And maybe now forward and back. Really smooth. And if that feels easy, maybe you can do a little circle with the jaw in one direction for 3, 2, 1. Let's reverse the circle of the jaw. Excellent. And maybe just explore that hip flexor stretch for the final count. If you'd like to, fold the side of your mat so that your back knee has something soft to rest on. Do that now, because we're going to come all the way back up. So you're much higher now. You're going to draw pubic bone forwards, press forward until you feel your front knee is gone so far that there's a gentle stretch on the front hip flexor. Right arm by your side, left arm up, side stretch until you feel that hip flexor stretch increases. I'm resting my hand on a block, but you can just hover in the air or grab a chair or a table. Good. And then once you've gotten to that absolute maximum spot, what I'd like you to do is just do little circles with the body. Take them anti-clockwise for 3, 2, and 1, and then repeat the same thing. Little side stretch with these weird little circles. 2 and 1. Excellent. Now push forward again into that hip flexor stretch. Notice how it feels, and then you're going to ease your way up out of it. Really well done. Now, I'd like to shimmy forward on that front leg and give me a flexed foot and a long knee on the front leg. So we're coming into our half splits. And what you're going to do is you're going to probably find yourself just sort of collapsing in the shape. So really draw your shoulders away from the ears so you're quite tall in your neck. And then instead of flexing in your spine, lengthen the tailbone as far back as you can. You know what? Feel free to come up as high as you choose so that you've got a lovely long front leg. And what we're going to do in this moment is the tongue. Remember I said the tongue occupies this huge space. It can facilitate some flexion. So I want your tongue to sort of circle around your lips. 3 in one direction, and then reverse to the other. And then just notice if you gain an added millimeter on your forward fold. Pretty cool, huh? For some of you, you might be like, yeah, I like it. For others, it just doesn't work. So just, if you're one of the people that it works for, use it. Let's do all of this now on the other side. So you're going to drag this leg back. And we are going to take ourselves into that forward and back motion. And we're going to begin with that breathing that goes for a really long time into the very, very edge of your out breath. And the repetition, along with a breathing drill, you might find, I've got a little bit more space, and then you explore it. Go for it. Let's do one more primary out breath. Excellent. And when you get to the end of that out breath, we are now going to push forward with the hips. And we're pushing until we feel the front of that back hip starting to elongate. Now here we're going to again apply one of the jaw drills. So I'd like your jaw to go side to side first. Really softly. And then forward and back. Last one. Cool, now try 3 circles with the jaw in one direction and 3 the other way. Excellent. Let's now take that side stretch. So your hand is resting on the block if you choose, or you're just going to go up and over and rest the hand on the hip. That's also a great option. Make sure that you're giving your glutes a big old squeeze as you push forward and reach knee away from arm and arm away from knee. We obviously need those juicy hip flexors to be able to take us all the way down. They can sometimes be even harder to develop than the front leg's hamstring. So all of these little flexibility hacks are gold. Last big breath. Whoa. Excellent. Now we're going to pull back into our half splits. And what we're going to do is the tongue variation that we've been working on that goes 3 times around the lips in one way and then just repeat the same thing the other way. And again, everyone's different, right? So maybe you're like, okay, I've got an extra little millimeter here, hello. Then just enjoy it and, just be happy with yourself that you've got that extra range. If it didn't work for you, another thing you could try is push the tongue against the roof of your mouth and slide it forwards into the back of your top teeth. Hold it there powerfully. And then relax the jaw and the tongue and see if that made any difference with your range. Okay. So we have got 2 more things left on the menu. The first thing is standing splits because, yeah, you guessed it, standing splits is one of the best ways to train splits. It makes you super duper honest because you have to use your strength. And then we'll finish with a chilled out forward fold. So trust me, you are so close. Your blocks might be useful. If you don't need them, you're welcome to have your hands on the ground. Right foot's going to step down and left leg is going to lift up. Now here we are working our flexibility. So if possible, let's take the right hand onto the back of the right leg and let's use it almost like a little pulley system, guiding you down into this flexibility of this pose. This one's a little bit of a naughty one to put in this class because it's quite a lot of strength as well. But we've got to use that flexibility we've just created. So in fact, it's the perfect thing for the perfect time. Are we ready to go into left leg? Yes, we are. Let's take that right leg up high. You're using your left arm now to just give you a little bit of guidance. Feel yourself pulling yourself into that amazing standing split. And visualize it going a little bit higher than you even think you possibly could make it go. Fabulous. Let's take the right leg down to the ground. And here we get to enjoy a good old-fashioned forward fold. You did so incredible. Take a moment to be so, so proud and so, so happy. And slowly roll up. And I'd like to just acknowledge the fact that there are very few people that manage consistency. Obvious reasons, life is so incredibly busy and things get in the way. But if you did have all of those challenges and you still managed to squeeze this in, please take a moment to give yourself extra brownie points, because it really is a challenge and I'm so proud of you that you managed to make this a part of your routine today. Well done. Let me know how you're doing down below. I would so love to hear from you.